So you have been recruited as a Block 1 teacher for our Gospel Project program. What that means is that you'll be serving from about 9:45 in the morning to roughly 10:55 or so. And that's considered our first segment of time. Um, Block 1 teachers are going to be there for the first small group portion, as well as maybe about the first half of the large group portion time. Um, you will have a class box that has lots of the materials that you'll need. Each age group has a box that the teachers kind of pass around on Sunday, and it will have folders, it will have activity pages, lots of stuff in there, attendance sheets, as well as memory verse sheets, as well as a picture for today's lesson and the big picture question and answer for today's lesson. All of that will be in your box, so make sure you check that out and prepare for your class and are ready with that. You'll also be receiving the curriculum as well as discussion questions over email. We use Google Drive to share a lot of things, so if you have a Gmail account, that's helpful, but you should be able to access them just from receiving an email from the people sending out the materials. Now, let's get into what your time will be spent doing. You're the first person the students are going to interact with, so we have a welcome time and a time to pray and take prayer requests. You'll see that all listed out in your teaching manual. Be careful with the prayer request time, not to let the students drag on. Some of them like to share their whole week and really don't even offer a prayer request. So be cautious and make sure you don't let that time take the whole section that you have. So you'll also have a chance to recap and review last week's lesson. Just a couple basic questions is fine. There's some activity sheets that you can do with the kids. There's usually like a puzzle on one side and a coloring page on the other. You can use that. You'll have session starter recommendations that are games or crafts to get the kids thinking about the theme of the day. That'll be in your curriculum. You'll also have questions, discussion questions that have been sent to you by email. Now, those questions have a first segment of questions that are about introducing the theme of the day, and then the next segment of questions are about reading the passage in chunks. Read a couple of verses, ask some questions. Read a couple of verses, ask some questions, and you'll notice that those questions, all of them have symbols to the left. Triangles indicate these are questions appropriate for pre-K group. Circles indicate it's appropriate for 1st through 3rd, and squares indicate these questions are appropriate for 4th through 6th graders. Now you'll need to, as the teacher, you'll need to decide which of these questions you're going to ask, because you may find that you don't always have time for all of the questions. So you'll want to judge the time and keep an eye on that and pick out the questions that you feel will be best for the students as you get to know them. So you have the freedom to pick and choose. Don't throw them all away. Those are important. But you have freedom to maybe add your own or remove one and so on. The goal of these questions is not to get the students thinking about why God was doing something in the passage or what we're supposed to learn from it. The goal of these questions is really just to make sure that they understand the passage as it's been read to them and as they've read it. Do they understand what has happened in the story? These are questions about who did the action in this story. Forgive me for that. Who is the main character? Who is the bad guy? What did they do? What did God say? Those sort of questions, the actual observations in the text. After all of that's done, you'll also want to be taking attendance towards the beginning of the time. You may find it's better to take it at the end as students kind of trickle in. And you can feel free to award points for students who do things that are out of the ordinary for that specific student. For example, if you have a student that doesn't ever answer questions, and today they were participating, give them some points, 50 to 100 points. Mark it down on their attendance sheet. If you have a student who's always asking questions or always answering questions, but very rarely offers to pray for someone, and they offer to pray for someone that day, give points for that sort of thing. You will then, at about 10:35, usher your students, don't just dismiss them, but take them with you into the fellowship hall for the large group time. Once that time begins, your job is to be there, to be present, to assist in any way that's needed. If a child has a meltdown or needs to go to the bathroom, you're still there. So please don't leave once you get them to large group. Be there as helpers. And when it's time for the video, this is a great time for the teachers to kind of sneakily, stealthily be setting up the snacks. So whoever has laid out the snacks or has provided them, you can help count how many students are there, set up snacks, and make sure things are ready. And it's really during the worship time that you should be able to then leave because the Block 2 teachers are arriving at that time. But if it's at all possible, please make sure you don't leave until the Block 2 teacher has arrived and you've transferred off that box for your class to them. So yeah, hopefully that helps. One last reminder during that large group time, it's important that you are sitting with the students and participating with them instead of maybe hanging out in the back and talking, because that can be a bit of a distraction. And your example can go a long way to help them participate and to sit and to pay attention as well. So yeah, thank you for serving in this way, and hopefully that answers a lot of your questions.